Hello, everyone, and welcome to Commerce Bytes, September edition. My name is Saurabh Sasteva, and I'm the founder of AssureX, an engineering agency specializing in Sitecore. We have recently been recognized as a Sitecore Silver Partner, and if you want to know more about our company or the services that we offer, please head to our website at assurex.co. Now, let's get started with the September edition.
So next up, we have got Sandeep Pore, our own Sandeep Pore, who's a solution architect at AssureX. And he's going to take it to the next level. Most of the times you must have seen people are talking about extending business tools, sector commerce business tools, and adding entity view, adding some data from another entities. But this time Sandeep is going to talk about how to add a custom component, custom control on, in the business tools and use the BizFX SDK to kind of access that control and render that on the front end. So Sandeep, it's over to you.
Hey, thank you, Saurabh. Yeah, let me share my screen. Yeah, I hope you are able to see my screen here.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So hello and welcome to the September edition of Commerce Bytes. Before I could start, I'd like to thank you for joining this session, and I will also like to thank Commerce Bytes and AzureX for giving me this opportunity to speak on customizing a Sitecore Commerce business tool. So a quick introduction. So myself, Sandeep Pote, I am working as a commerce architect with AzureX here in UK. Uh, the links there where I write some blogs, and if you want to connect with me, there's a LinkedIn URL. So today's agenda is as we are going to see how we are going to extend or create a custom component and extend the business tool. I'll just do a quick walkthrough on business tool, the business tool that represents the entities. And the business tool is basically a pluggable framework. So they are using plugins. So I'll again walk you through on what are the plugins, what are their elements, etc. Business tool, basically they represent the UI where the data is fed in. So which with the help of the entity view. So basically the entity view gives a user a complete extensible and customizable experience. So I will talk again on the entity views there. The main topic is setting up the development environment. So this environment is the business tool environment and not the commerce engine here. Yeah, so that we can create a new component. And thereafter we'll see how we create a new component in the Angular with the help of entity views, followed by a demo. Yeah. Okay, so business tool, for me, it's like a visual representation or to manage the entities. It's a single point of access to an interface. And when we say that it's a single point of access, it allows the business users and the commerce administrators to perform activities that are related to the entities. And the entities can be merchandising, the customers, orders, or pricing, inventory, etc. So it also allows the users to manage the advanced administrator tasks. And business tool also allows you to perform the CRUD operation. So when I say the CRUD operation, it allows to get the data, which can be a catalog or customer data. It also allows you to edit, create, and persist commerce entities. Yeah, and also, yes, of course, when we get the data, it allows you to populate the UI. So all in all, it's an interesting tool as it is extensible using the pluggable framework. So what does business tool do is it communicates directly to the commerce services. And now in this case, it can be an authoring service or it is authoring service only when it's successfully authenticated by the identity server. Now business tool handles the personal data, that is it displays and it allows you to edit the customers and orders which contains the personal data. So it has to be first authenticated by the identity server and then it starts pulling the data from the commerce services. Yeah, and in basically from the authoring service. So business tool is built on Angular framework. Yeah, um, I think it's Angular 4, and it's a data driven. So basically, the data that's been fed in, business tool will render it through the UI. So with the help of the Commerce View services, the data will be fed into the UI. Now, the good thing is that the Sitecore has provided SDK to extend this. It's simple to extend. You can extend it through the HTML. You can extend it through CSS, JavaScript. Also, you can extend it through the plugin with the help of C# code. So basically, you don't have to always, or you don't have to update, or you don't have to customize the UI. Because you are able to extend it through the entity views at the server side. But sometimes you might have to modify it. And in this case, we'll see what is the scenario where we need to modify or we need to create a new component using AngularJS. Yeah. So once you have your XC instance installed and you log into the Sitecore client, you will see an option, the business tool, to basically navigate to the business tool. And when you are in the business tool, you see this first screen. There's a dashboard. So, but basically the dashboard shows you all the entities, out of the box entities that Sitecore has provided, and you can have your own entity too here. The sidebar here will list out all those entities, the merchandisers and the customers, service providers are able to navigate through this through the sidebar, and it also shows the same options with the icons here on the dashboard. So you can see there's a habitat authoring. So it provides you with the different environments. By default, it comes with the habitat and the authoring environment. And it also allows you to enter the content in different languages. So it's a multi-language. Yeah. So when we say business tool is a pluggable framework, so yeah, we are using plugins. It's an extension to the commerce engine. So it allows you to extend your out-of-the-box entities, or you are able to create your own entity. So basically, yeah, it is helping us to extend the Sitecore commerce engine. Yeah, it also allows you to independently publish. So it's kind of using a common closure principle where you have everything packed in one plugin, or the functionality or the feature you want to build and implement. You are able to pack in one plugin, and you are able to then create a Nugget package for a public repo or a secure private repository. It's policy driven. When we say it's a policy driven, it basically affects the behavior of the functionality. Yeah, so basically it's a kind of a settings. It sits in the config. So you can change or you can control the behavior of your functionality using the policies. All right. So what does the plugin contain? Yeah, there are a few elements that a plugin can have. There are much more, but I have just kept it very short here. A plugin can have entities. Entities are nothing but it's a class that's stored in a single unit in a persistent storage, and in this case, it's a database. Yeah. So we don't need to manage the database schema. It's like a flat file. It's a JSON which is kept in the DB. Yeah, and it is extendable through the policies. So all in all, entities contains data related to a business unit. Component is basically it helps to extend the entities. So when I say it helps to extend, like say for example, a customer entity. Yeah. Now, if you want to have a customer details, you have that in the entity, customer entity. But now, let's say for example, address. It's a component. So you can add multiple components or multiple address within that entity. So basically, components here are helping us to extend the entity. Pipeline blocks. So they do the heavy lifting in plugin by making it possible to define the extensible behavior. So basically, you can create your own pipeline. You can create blocks within those pipeline, and you can execute that pipeline in a sequence. So say, for example, when I say pipeline block, let's say if you want to save any entity, so you might create a pipeline which will have a block to validate that entity, maybe to transform that entity or data, and then persist that entity or actually save that entity. So we have 3 blocks. So you can have those blocks registered in the pipeline, and that will be executed in a sequence. Yeah. So pipeline blocks helps in that. So basically, pipeline is basically implementing the behavior and the actions and the business logic. Coming back to commands, for me, the command is nothing but it's a unit of work that performs a set of actions. So basically, you want to execute a pipeline and blocks related or registered in that pipeline. You can execute the pipeline from the commands within the transaction scope. So if one of your block fails, then you should be able to roll back. So you can manage that in the commands. Yeah. So policies are nothing but again, as I said, it affects the behavior of your implementation. So basically, it's nothing but it controls or is a group of setting that affects the behavior of functionality or feature. Yeah. Minions are the worker process. It works. So they are implemented as a basic unit of work to perform certain specific tasks in the process in a background. Yeah, so these are some few of the elements which I wanted to quickly go through. There are a few more, like you can have controllers, models, etc. But all in all, plugin is can take a dependency on another plugin to extend its functionality. So you can have, if you want to extend, say for example, the customer plugin, you can have your own plugin which will extend the customer entity. Yeah. Okay, so we have plugins. Now we'll quickly see how we get the data, or what does the commerce view service do to feed in the data to the entity views. So the next will be next is the entity views. Yeah. So basically, business tool leverages the commerce view service. Basically, what they do, commerce view service, they provides the data driven provide a set of data driven service that feed in the data to the business tool, and the business tool will, yeah, of course, it will render the data in the form of UI. So basically, what it does is it translates the complex internal storage into a simple form, and that which is consumed by the business tool. Yeah, it's a dynamic because it's progressively built using the plugin in a pipeline. Yeah, so basically, commerce view service will give you data which will be fed into the to the entity views. So entity view. So basically, the entity view allow the customer to take actions and dynamically update the view without requiring the significant customization of user experience. So entity view will provide the business users to completely customize and extend and give a best business experience. Yeah, so this is the class, going a bit more technical here, the entity view class, which is inherited from the model, and the entity view, which is rendered as a UI in the business tool, can have the will have the properties, and the properties are like just like a fields that we have in a database. Yeah, and it will it has options to, it will have an option to serve the name, the display name, and the behavior, like it should be hidden, or it's required, or it's read only. The very important thing in the entity view is to how that UI will be rendered, and that is done through the UI hint. So the UI hint will have so the options that been used here may be the flat view or the table view. So depending upon what option you want to use, the entity view will render the UI in the business tool. So the UI hint is very important here. Yeah, and this is what we see, that I created an object of the entity view with the name and entity ID, item ID. Yeah, and those are used to understand which entity or which item is been updated or used. Yeah, if you see here, I haven't used UI hint because if there's no UI hint, it will use the flat view, which is the default one. Yeah, and it's adding that view as a child view to the parent. Yeah, with all these properties. So say I have created my own entity here called as organization, which has the organization name, contact person, etc., country, zip code here. So this will be rendered as a flat view when we use the UI hint as a when we don't mention any UI hint. Yeah. So this is what we see for the organization. So here, if you see, we have created a entity with the with the name details. So it's rendering the section details as a child entity, and with the field name, that is organization name, say here, and the value is test organization. Summary comes with by default for each entity, which will render what is the name or what is the type of the entity, ID, etc. What is the version of the entity. Yeah. So as we didn't mention the UI hint, and this is where the scenario comes in, where why we need to create a new component here. Because if you see this scenario, a customer might ask, yeah, so it becomes less user friendly flat view, and specifically with the fields like address. Yeah, it can be a long text. Here it's like two letters, two words or three words, but it can be a long text, so it won't be as much as user friendly, or we won't be able to give a better user experience there with the flat view. So this is where we try and create a new component, or there's a requirement of a new component here, because it doesn't come out of the box from the side code. But before we could start looking into how we create a component, we'll have to first set up the development environment for business tool. The way we set up it for the commerce engine may be the same way, but in this case, we are trying to create a development environment for business tools, wherein you are able to change, or you are able to add a new component, and you are able to build and view before you could publish it to the IIS or your production. So the next topic is where what we need to do to set up the development environment. Yeah. So the prerequisites are, yes, of course, you need to have your commerce engine deployed, yeah, in your development workstation. You need to have installed your Node.js, which will help us to build and run on the JavaScript runtime instead of on IIS, so that whatever changes you made, you are able to see it quickly on this instance. And since it's built on the Angular framework, you need to have the Angular CLI tools, yeah, installed before you could start anything. Now, so of course you are creating an environment, so you might need supporting files of the business tool, and that will come from the Sitecore public feed. So before you could install anything with respect to the business tool, you first need to set those Sitecore public feed on your development workstation. So basically execute those npm config commands, and it will register those URL, and it will add the entries to the .npm-rc file. You can also edit or add it directly to the npm-rc file with those URLs. So what we need to have in the development folder. So basically we'll need to have, as I said earlier, so it's good that Sitecore has provided us the SDK. So we have to get this SDK from your installable folder to your development environment first thing first. And along with that, there are 3 tar files which will help you to which will help the business tool to have their icons, fonts, and styling, etc. Yeah. So your development folder will look something like this. Then when the BizFX SDK has been extracted, and when we have those 3 tar files or zip files over there at one place, yeah, before we could start installation. So your development folder should have all this before anything should happen. Also, before installing, it's better to configure or see if your configuration is correct, because business tool will be listening to the port 4200. So you might have to check in the config.json if it's correctly configured, if the URL is correct here for the business tool. Now, install. So basically, those tar files which we have, so you have to basically go to through the PowerShell command, navigate to the development folder, and install the tar files and the BizFix. So supporting files will be downloaded on your development folder. Yeah, and once we have all this correctly installed, now is the time when we want to build and run the business tool from your development and folder. Yeah, but before you could do that, uh, you should stop the business tool site from the IIS and then execute the ngserve command, which will then compile and it will start listening to the local host on the port 4200 here. Yeah. So this will be my first demo where I have already set up the environment, although, but I'll just walk you through on the folders, what it contains, and then I will run the business tool from the JavaScript runtime or through Node.js. Yeah. So after you have uh, um, your JavaScript runtime up and running, you will see the business tool, everything same. Your out of the box entities and your custom entities loading there, but it says that the Angular is running in the development mode now. That means it's running from your development folder, and you are able to see that the IIS site, Sitecore BizFix site is stopped there, so it's running from the Node.js. So this will be my first demo. Now, since we have your development environment set up correctly, the next is to see how we create a custom component. Yeah, so in this case, I'll create a vertical view. As I said earlier, the flat view doesn't suffice or to accommodate all the content. So I'll give a simple example here on how to creating a vertical view. Yeah. Now, if you want to create a new view or new component, you might have to navigate to this folder, where in the development folder, to the views, and it will have the supporting HTML, CSS, and TS file, which is a JavaScript file. If you see this screen here, it's showing you all the components we already have with the business tool, the flat view, the item view, table view, and I have added our own component for which is a vertical view. Yeah, so this is the place where you might have to start writing your new component, or if you want to update, you can update the existing component too. Yeah. Yeah. So what does this file contain? So the TS file or the script file will register the component. Yeah. It will tell what the tag HTML tag needs to be used, or how will we identify that component. So this is where we use wherever we use the component, it will be used with this tag SC BizFix say vertical view. This can be anything. Okay. And what needs to be rendered when we use that component. So that is a template URL there. Yeah. So we have an HTML where we need to render what we need to render in there, and the supporting style. Yeah, we need to apply to the template or the HTML. Yeah. So this is where we are registering the component, and what does that component contain here? So it's a HTML so I have tweaked the existing flat view to get it to the vertical view. So we have like a table header, property name and value, and then we have the actual value of the property name, that's a display name, and the value. So the value can be a date time, language, list, etc., or a normal text. So depending upon what type of the property it is, it should render the value. Yeah. Now here, when we say that when we saw earlier that the commerce view service will feed in the data, and we saw in the entity view those properties like organization name, country, etc. That data will be fed into the UI, and if you see there is a ng for, there's a loop, yeah, which will loop through those properties, and it will render the property name and the value in your component. So this is the HTML file where we need to update uh, uh, or see what we need to render, yeah, as a part of the component. Now, um, so this is the syntax where, or the HTML tag where we use the component. So I showed you earlier, when we register the component, we were using SC BizFix vertical view. Yeah. So this is where we are telling the component, okay, start rendering. Yeah. But there is a condition, only when the UI hint is vertical. So if you see there, UI hint is equal to vertical. Yeah. Earlier you saw that in the code, I didn't mention anything on the UI hint. But when I do that, the component will understand, okay, the entity view needs to be rendered as a vertical, and this component will be rendered, yeah, based on what condition it is. So there's an ng if, there's an angular if condition there. Yeah. Now this is the code, the updated code, where now I'm mentioning here the UI hint should be vertical, and it's just everything is same. Yeah, all the properties are still same, except that we are telling that, okay, initiate or initialize my component there. All right. Okay. So this will render a new component in the vertical form, and it should look like this. So earlier we saw that it was a flat view. Yeah. And after we add a UI hint, you see now this is a vertical view. All right. So yeah, I think yeah, and for me the next is the demo. I'll share my VM. I hope you are able to see my screen. Yeah, if not, just let me know. Yeah. So this is where I have logged into the Commerce client, and if you see in here, my Sitecore BizFix business tool site is running. I'll just get into the business tool. I think it needs to warm up. Yeah. So you see sidebars and everything's there. Out of the box entities working, and I have my own entity here, organization. If you see the flat view. Yeah. So now a quick on the development folder of the business tool. So this is what it looks like. So I have extracted the SDK, and I have changed the config, and you see all those components in here, a vertical view. Yeah. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this, open the PowerShell. Yeah. And since everything is set up already, you can see the ng models here. That means I have installed the supporting files that the business tool needs, the Sitecore and BizFix files. Yeah. AngularJS and Speak. So I'll just execute ng serve. Now this should start compiling. It will take a bit like 15-20 seconds to kickstart. Yep. So it has started compiling now. Basically, it is compiling through the development folder and sorry. Yep. And now it's listening to 4200. Yeah. So I'll open a new incognito window. Oops, sorry. It should ask me to enter the credentials. Yep. Yeah. Now you see the business tool is running from the development folder or to the JavaScript runtime. This is, and we can see that it's the business tool is stopped here, and everything is same. All the out of the box entities working. Yeah. And yeah, and the custom entity with the flat view. Yeah. So this was my first demo where we are able to see, or we are able to run through uh, the business tool from the Node.js. So quickly, the next is to I'll show you how or where we have changed for the custom component source. I think I've already shown you here components and views, and the vertical view component which has the supporting HTML. Yeah, what needs to be rendered, the property name value, and it will render the value based on the type of the property, and it's doing the looping for the properties. Yeah, and quickly here, yeah, registering the component. So I'll go in here, and currently you see there's no UI hint. I'm not going to walk through on the what all elements we have in here, short of time. UI hint, and I'll just mention vertical in here. Yeah, and I'm just quickly going to compile this and push the DLL for now. So this should now render the vertical view of the organization entity. Yeah, once we have, I'll quickly copy that DLL file. Debug. Yeah, in your authoring site, I'll stop and paste it here. Yeah, start the site, and yeah. Yeah. So since I changed the view, now you are able to see the vertical view. So everything add and edit, everything should be same, should work same as is. Yeah, there's no difference in there, but it's just that we have a new component which is displaying in vertically. Yeah, so this is my second demo, and that's it from my side. Saurabh, back to you.
Thank you, Sandeep. It was indeed a kind of, like I said, you actually dug deep into Cycle
Yeah.
Commerce business tools. And so far, what you have seen is like, most of the people talking about how to set up the development SDK to build plugin for Cycle Commerce. And it's good to see how to extend the business tools. That's one of the problems that I've seen in the past as well when I was working on the commerce project. Is like most of the people tend to store the data into the site core XP and fetch the data on the runtime because they don't find a particular component which is of interest for them. So with this, you can add your own components and
Yeah.
store, continue storing the data in the business tool rather than or in the commerce database rather than the XP one.
Yeah. And this was a very
So
simple example. We can build quite a few complex components there. So yeah. So this was the process to show how we customize the component or create a new component.
no, it was really great actually. Yeah, that's what yeah. So, guys, feel free to ask any questions that you've got. And we've got one question that has come in. What is the original type in the entity view properties? When to use it?
So it's basically so it's a property. So what exactly control you want to render there? So it can be a original type can be a text, and if you want to change it to so there is a UI type. So if you want to change it to the drop down or a tag, etc. So you should be able to change the property there.
What you're saying is like, original type is like a default one, and then if you provide the
Extreme,
UI hint, that
yeah.
will be, the
So
overwritten
within the
one.
property there is a UI type.
Mhm.
So you can override the original type with the UI type, whether it should be a text or a drop down or a tag, etc.
Okay, that's cool.
Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to like, share, and most importantly, subscribe to this channel so that you get notified about our latest videos. If you want to know more about our services, please head to our website at assurex.co. Thank you very much once again. Take care and stay safe.